Hi, it's Paul Ryan. That music can only mean one thing. We're going to talk about music. We're going to play a song that I wrote, and we're going to check in on how is Freddie Spaghetti doing today. For the last couple of weeks on the music side, I've been talking about DSPs, record labels, and sort of generically the music industry. Going to change gears today about the music business from a totally different perspective. We're going to look at some numbers. People talk about the music business or music industry. It's no secret that the music industry has undergone a dramatic shift over the past decade. Out our CDs and digital service providers are in, and with such a major shift comes change, uncertainty, great possibilities, and some structural realignment regarding how things work and how they interconnect. We already know about some of these changes. For one, on the consumption side, purchasing music is totally different than it used to be. Today, you download a track on your credit card and voila, done. In the old days, you would probably have gone to a music store and purchased an entire album just to get that one or two songs that you really want to hear. So the music industry of today is 180 degrees separated from the one I left as a young man. When I returned to music, I had a lot of questions. For example, how big is it? How big of an industry is it? One of the curses of having run a market research business for all those years is that the thirst for information never leaves you. You're always seeking context and hierarchical relationships. So the first thing you find when you start looking is that there's a lot of information out there, but nothing specific to what I was looking for. So to begin, I needed to look at the big picture. And that exercise led to a fairly thorough and complete look at the size and the scope of the recorded music industry. I've summarized the results in a report I titled The USA Recorded Music Industry. Very creative, right? And it's available at the ryantunes.com website or by contacting us via the site. In 2014, research firm AC Nielsen provided two helpful definitions relative to the music industry, and these provide a really good start point to understand what's going on. Their study was titled 360 Degrees Music. Nielsen used the terms quote-unquote music consumers and quote-unquote active music consumers to define groups listening to music. The former describes people who are exposed to music, the latter people who actively seek out and listen to music. Those definitions are relatable to the total population, so consequently it allows for a big picture look at the music industry and its revenue derivatives, or maybe a better term would be tributaries. The beauty of having measurements related to the overall population is that you can relate any other information to those big picture numbers. So whether you are a label, a DSP, a superstar performer, a DJ, a fan, a small independent artist, or anybody else interested in music, everyone, and I mean everyone, operates within the boundaries of these Nielsen definitions. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the U.S. population was 335 million people in 2024. And using the Nielsen definitions, it follows that 93% or 311 million Americans are considered music consumers, and 75% of the overall 251 million are active music consumers, or I should say past tense, were, because we're dealing with a population of 2024. This second group is most important because they proactively went out and listened to music in that year 2024. And those big numbers, percentually, they're not going to change from year to year. So if we're talking about 2026, 2027, not a lot going to change there. The U.S. population grows at an average of 0.5% per year. In 2026, assuming that growth rate, and the total population, plus or minus, will be about 339 million people. That's 339 million. Music consumers at 93% will total 315 million people. And active music consumers, those who seek it out, 75% will total 254 million Americans. Remember that number, 254 million. With these baselines, possible to apply separately published information to determine the size and nature of the USA music industry. Specifically, information from the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA, and the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, or IFPI. They are the two big wells of information with regard to data on the music industry. Next week, I'm going to be digging in to that by first asking some key questions relevant to the industry. Featured song this week is called Hey Cabby. I wrote Hey Cabby as an account of a jilted lover who's looking for a way to make his pain go away. He's in a cab, and you know, cab drivers, they know a lot about a lot of different things, right? They have secrets that people have told them. Anyway, this fellow asks the cab driver to drive him to a venue, and then he changes his mind, and he goes back up into his own hotel room to drown his sorrow with a Jack Daniels.
Well, I just touched down an hour ago. Can still hear that jet plane's constant groan. Take me to the house of blues, or where they bring the pain. Blue is how I feel and all alone. Hey cabby, my troubles run so deep. Mine's the story of a fool and his lover's cold deceit. You see, my baby left me yesterday. She said our time is done. It's strange though, I never saw it coming. She told me that the fire was gone, she needed someone new. It's so cliche, it's almost funny. A cliche that's as old as time, but this time the pain is mine. Frozen dreams and disbelief, it's hard sometimes to even breathe. Hey cabby, do you know of passion's reign? Love turned bad can be so strong, tears the heart like a hurricane. My trip here was 2,000 miles, and you'd think by now my problems would seem so far away. But they dogged me over streams and roads, across snowy peaks and plains. So here I am, in an awful way. So thanks for listening to my tale, don't mean to bring you down. Forget about the House of Blues. It's late now and I'm really tired, so take me back to my hotel. Jack Daniels waits up in my room. Hey cabby, have you ever played the fool? Do you see a cure for me, or is my future black and cruel?
In last week's installment of The Musical Life of Freddie Spaghetti, Freddie had met with Delta Records executive, a guy by the name of Rob Delroy. The meeting was a landmark in Freddie's musical life. All the nerves, all the questions about why Delta had approached him had been calmed. Delta was a real record label, and they wanted to do business with him, Fred Barton Jr. So today he's driving back to Cherry Creek. The tour details are being drafted back at Delta Records, and they'll be ready for a follow-up meeting. The tour will last for 3 months. Freddie will play his own songs plus some others. Depending on how it goes, Delta might provide backup musicians for some of the larger shows. The act will be called Freddie Spaghetti for now, and in venues where others on stage with him, it will be called Freddie Spaghetti and the Noodles. During the drive home, Freddie's mind was racing. When should he resign from his day job? And if things don't work out, will his old job take him back? Will it be available still? So many questions. Where will the gigs be? Is he going to fly to L.A., New York, Nashville? Where? When Freddie arrived back home, he contacted his mom, then Britt, Bob Hackett, in that order. Nancy is nearly always available for a phone call, so he called her first. The other two might take longer as they could be tougher to reach on a first call. "Hi, Mom." Freddie must have sounded panicked because even before her son could tell her the big news, Nancy's advice was to slow down and breathe. But she also knew that something very special was happening with Freddie. She reminded him of how proud she is, and Fred Sr. too. And while she doesn't completely understand the situation, it sounds like very good news. Freddie then calls Britt, and she picks up the phone right away. By now, Freddie's voice has lost its excited high-pitched squeal and squeak, and his voice has returned to normal. He reviews his day at Delta and all the adventure, the possibilities that lay ahead. Britt listens, offers a few kudos, and then when he's finished, she asks a question. "Do you have a lawyer?" There's a pause on the line. Freddie is totally silent. "Hello? Hello?" Britt asks. Finally, Freddie responds, "Why do I need a lawyer? This is a reputable record label. I'm just lucky they even want me, so why would I need a lawyer?" Britt can hear in his voice that Freddie has turned from total exhilaration to total despair within a split second. "Hey, Freddie, this is awesome news. Life-changing. It really is. But it also is a legal agreement between two parties. A lawyer probably won't change anything, but you're protected. It's like buying a house. You wouldn't give the money without legal help, right?" As the conversation continues, Freddie keeps reinforcing that he's the lucky one here. He's also slowly processing things, though. "Okay, say I hire a lawyer. That might kill the deal right there, right? Why would a big record label do business with a nobody whose first reaction is to go run and hire a lawyer?" "It shouldn't. If you're worried, just call them and ask. It's probably routine for this type of thing. They're probably used to it." When he hangs up the phone, Freddie is more curious than negative now about the lawyer idea. He thinks about it and tries to understand why he needs a lawyer since Delta Records is a legitimate company. You know what? Maybe Bob Hackett knows if it's a good idea or not. It takes Freddie a couple of hours of phone tag to reach Hackett, but he finally does. "That's great news, bud." The two discuss all the possibilities of what might be, and finally Freddie asks Hackett the lawyer question. "Well, hell yeah," comes Hackett's reply. "Normal business, son. Tell me, your guy there at Delta, what's his name, Rob?" Yeah, Rob Delroy." "Well, you're pretty dumb if you don't, bud. These lawyer dudes, they just go over the points that you and this Delroy guy nailed down. It's a legal sort of deal. Same as buying a house." Freddie sighs. "Yeah, so I've heard." Hackett continues. "Look, I've got a great lawyer. He specializes in music. Music's all he does. And he's probably done this kind of deal 100 times with Delta. He's not that expensive. Why don't I send his information over to you? And look, bud, don't even sweat it. This is normal business. Delta would be surprised if you didn't have a lawyer. Just ask your guy, Delroy. You'll see. Makes you look unprofessional if you don't have one." That last comment by Hackett, that was all Freddie Spaghetti needed. Best to behave like a pro, right? When Freddie and Delroy met again the following week, the meeting was an all-morning, sleeves-rolled-up affair, and a young lady sat right next to Rob with a binder including all the tour documents. As she plucked each one and handed it over to Delroy, he breezes through it, asks a question or two, and sometimes writes a note in the margin. He initials it and then hands it over to Freddie. There's about a half a dozen items that he needs Freddie to completely understand. So for each one, they go over those in detail before Freddie initials it. When the meeting adjourns, Freddie is unable to contain a laugh when Delroy asks him his legal contact's name and information. Delroy will copy them on the final document, and he's puzzled that such a routine request warrants any humor. "What's so funny?" Rob asks. Nothing at all, sir," Freddie responds. Just an inside joke with a couple of friends." Freddie drives back to Cherry Creek. A few days later, once all the notes have been examined and discussed by phone, a final draft of the tour is prepared by Delta and sent along to Freddie and his legal contact. After that, a live tour.
Thanks for listening today. Remember to come right back here next week for another edition of Sound Threads.